Hello gamers and welcome to Xbot and Pony. And every week we have a look at all the news that's going on in gaming and we put our spin on it. Sometimes we agree with what's going on, sometimes we don't. My name is Phil.
My name is Nick.
And Nick, what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about our Sony Showcase that we just live streamed.
We did.
Just our thoughts. It was a bit early in the morning, so apologies if we were a little bit quiet and didn't seem excited. It is exciting. Wasn't a dull event. It was a good event
this morning, weren't
we were
we?
a little bit zombified. It's a long week, and it was pretty early for us here in Australia.
Yeah.
We're going to go through pretty much what we all seen. It was pretty much what we'd seen before from Sony, but a deeper dive, and we got all the goodies. We got release date. We got pricing.
We have news. We finally have actual concrete information.
We have stuff we can talk about. So what did you think about, we did a little pricing thing before. What did you think about the pricing? We're both pretty close with the spot on the pricing.
Yeah, I honestly, I think the price was pretty much what I figured it would be. And they clearly matched with Microsoft afterwards. Yeah, I can't honestly say there's a big surprise there.
Yeah.
The $499 for the main console. Yeah, I don't think they were ever going to go above 500, even if the console would have cost them more than that.
No, I
don't think they ever would have gone up it.
Yeah, they learned that lesson, the $599 lesson.
Exactly right. Yeah. Believe it or not, actually, I was a little bit surprised that the digital version wasn't a bit higher than that. I'm surprised that it was $100 cheaper rather than say $50. But I guess they had to match, what Microsoft would do.
I think they've taken a bigger loss on that console. In saying that, it has opened a bit of discussion online as to if it's if it's 400, why is the other one 500? Are we being ripped off? Because the disk drive, as much as people say they're expensive, they're not that expensive. Even a 4K disk drive to put in there, when you're manufacturing millions of these units and you're buying millions of disk drives, Sony's probably picking them up. I'll be generous, at $30 a pop, US. So there's a big gap there. So people are like, hey, you're ripping us off. No, they're not. They've got to be competitive with the S, even though it's a weaker console. The price point, $100, that's a good difference. If it was 150, it might get more people looking at the S instead of the digital PS5. And launch is kind of mute, isn't it? I mean, we've seen the disc one sell out, so people are just going to get the digital one because they want a PS5.
Yeah.
So people will be forced to buy a digital one.
I think price-wise, though, man, the consoles were pretty spot on. But what they've revealed since about other elements of pricing have been a bit concerning.
I don't know, but
Yeah, that's the DualSense. Apparently, is it going to be $110
in Australia?
In Australia, for a second controller. The games have been basically confirmed to all be $70 in the US, which means everyone's going to follow Sony on that one. It's just going to happen.
We did see one screenshot of another company changing all the PS5 games to that price. So, Watch Dogs, everything. So against the competition, it's not a good look, is it? If you walk in and you own both consoles, so to speak, are you going to buy Watch Dogs on PlayStation or Xbox? Because there are going to be people that buy two. If it's $10 cheaper in America or $30 cheaper here in Australia, like if it's $94.95 or $125, I know what I'm buying. I mean, I'm not going to be spending $125 on the exact same product, and most people aren't going to care, and I don't want to get into it too much and sound like I'm being an Xbot, but the Xbox third-party versions are going to perform better too. So they're going to perform better and they're going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
If this does follow trend. We don't know. It's not confirmed for third parties. We've just seen one screenshot so far.
Yeah, exactly right.
It could be some Xbox dude being a jerk and faking stuff. There's a lot of fake stuff out there at the moment. So
I bet there is. I bet there's a lot of that stuff going around.
Yeah. Although it does open a big argument. Hang on, Microsoft's doing 60. Microsoft's doing Game Pass for free. Sony's making us pay 70. It's not a good look. It's not the end of the world. We will accept it. We will get used to it, and life will go on.
If you want quality, you got to pay a little bit more, right?
Exactly. It's like, it's the same stuff, but you're just paying more, like going to David Jones or Harvey Norman or JB Hi-Fi.
Exactly right.
It's a Dyson vacuum cleaner for $1,000, but it's $800 at JB. $1,000 here. Well, okay, then there you go. Have my $1,000.
Or get the Target own brand one.
Get the Target brand. Yeah.
There you go. Well, let's go back onto the event though. Let's talk through a few things there. So there's quite a lot actually. There's a few heavy hitters, some sort of deeper dives, some things that maybe we were less interested in. But let's start off with the big one.
Well, I thought better. Did you agree? I thought it flowed a lot better than last time. There wasn't as many. Not going to be mean, but there wasn't as many indie games that kind of lulled it down a bit. And I have no problem with them just having, like Nintendo does, separate indie events. Obviously, if you're paying for an indie to be exclusive, you probably want to put it in the big showcase. But I thought it flowed a lot better. There was some good announcements, some good exclusives or timed exclusives. We don't know yet. We'll find out later. Announced that really make it look like a good console, and it will be a good console in the course of the next couple of years. But yeah, Final Fantasy was the first one.
It was. So that was sort of rumored for a little while.
It was. So yeah, it wasn't.
People didn't really believe it was coming. And I think you and I got it pretty like in the first seconds. It's got to be.
It is. And then Square come up like, yeah, it's Final Fantasy. So yeah, and it looks good. The combat apparently, I'm trying to remember, is done by Devil May Cry guy, lead combat designer on Devil May Cry. So the combat system's going to be a little bit different. No release date. I think I seen 2021, but I tried to confirm that, but I couldn't see a release date anywhere yet. Another thing.
Also exclusive though. That's a biggie.
Is it 12 months? We'll discuss this part later, I guess. But it was for PC as well, and then they were asked about PC, and they were said no comment. So that confirms it's coming to PC. That much we know. Final Fantasy VII's coming to PC and Xbox. You'd assume it'll come to Xbox. They haven't said either way. We're just going to have to wait.
There's a possibility there's that 12 months.
If I was a betting man, I'd say 12 months. It's on, I'd say PC, maybe even earlier, or maybe it will be the same deal as that. And we did hear Sony has spent millions of dollars getting as many timed exclusives as they can, or full exclusives, due to the lack of their own games in the first couple of years. In saying that, they've just announced God of War 2 as well for 2021.
We'll go into more detail on that one. So but that's a hell of a turnaround on that one, if it does come out in 2021, because the last one came out in 2018.
I'm not confident.
Yeah.
If it's a PlayStation 4 game, I'm confident. If it's a PlayStation 5 only game, I'm not confident it will make that date. And we know how Sony are with their dates with all their first-party games.
We'll talk about that one in more detail a little bit later on.
They don't generally hit.
Final Fantasy 16 specifically.
That's
was there anything that stood out to you? Because for me, I'm kind of I want to be wooed by Final Fantasy. I think that's the best way of putting it.
I'm off the bench. I sit in the grandstand and I watch from afar and go, cool, but I don't play it.
Yeah. I've tried multiple times to get into that series because it looks like my sort of thing. And I think Final Fantasy 15 was maybe the closest to get me in.
I played the most of.
But this one, I was looking at the bosses. There was that boss that sort of looked like a giant meatball with spaghetti things coming off of it. Like that looked really cool. Like cool. I could see that being fun to fight.
No, it's good, and it's a big tick for the PlayStation 5. Big tick, timed exclusive. It's a good get. And Xbox doesn't. They have at the moment. They're getting a lot of Final Fantasy games, which is good to see. But it is a PlayStation franchise. It has been since Nintendo did their little Swifty on Sony back in the day. It's a great exclusive get, and honestly, Microsoft doesn't have any big AAA exclusives at the moment. They haven't done it since Tomb Raider, and they got all the backlash. So
they did.
Sony's doing the same thing now, and they're going to have to.
You don't understand. Tomb Raider was my thing.
Exactly.
You can't have my thing.
Again, it was more transparency with that, wasn't it? Like they didn't talk about it. They didn't say why. They just didn't talk about it. And that's the same with these ones. Because of the contract details, they don't talk about it. So us gamers are the ones that get hurt because we don't know why they're doing it. Well, we know money, but we don't know when it's coming to the other consoles, if it's coming to the other consoles, which is silly. They should just say, this is the deal, 12 months, exclusive to Sony. If you want it, buy it now. If not, you can get it on Xbox and PC in 12 months. And everyone would go, cool, I'm happy with that. We know why. Move on. Except everybody sits around going, well, I don't know if it's coming to PlayStation.
Can I play? Because I want to play too.
I want to play, but I did the last one. Why can't I this one? Like, and yeah, can you blame them? Especially with Tomb Raider. I mean, I was against that as well. It was like, oh, I've got an exclusive. Cool. I can say I've got, but why Tomb Raider? Like, end of the day, it was funding like Bayonetta. They were basically told, Crystal Dynamics were told, we're not going to release this game. Your budget's done.
Nick, you see this? Yeah. You see what this is?
Yeah.
This is my lasso. I'm bringing you back in, all right? PlayStation Showcase, all right? Spider-Man.
Yes. So Spider-Man. Coming.
All right, what do you think? So we got an extended look at that of the gameplay on that one. What did you? Because you're a big Spider-Man fan. How did you find it?
I am. I'm not a Miles. I'm not a Miles fan, but I don't know a lot about Miles. My mate Sean's a massive Miles fan. He prefers Miles over Peter. Again, it's one of those things. It was weird not hearing Peter Parker's voice throughout the trailer for me. I've grown up with Peter Parker. That's who I know. It's what I know. 90s cartoons, the comics. In saying that, it looks action-packed and it looks just as good as the first one. Yeah, I want it and I want to play it, and I don't need to buy a PlayStation 5 to do it. So I'm very happy.
Yes, so that's obviously confirmed for PS4 as well. Yeah,
it's a good thing for all gamers, in my opinion.
Yeah,
we'll discuss that later, but I'm happy that 100 million people out there potentially get to play a game that was most likely designed for PlayStation 4 and not PlayStation 5 to begin with. And if you want it with ray tracing, if you want it to look prettier, wait till next year when you can finally get a PlayStation 5 and play it then. But get the PlayStation 5 version. Let people enjoy PlayStation 4 with PlayStation 5. It looks great. Again, amazing exclusive for Sony, and it's a full exclusive. And another tick, another win. And
it is a good. Yeah, it is a good. Really good. It's Somniac's purely for them now, aren't they? They're purely for Sony.
They own them now, yes. And they bought, without trying to get off tandem too much, they did buy Sunset Overdrive IP. So technically now, because they've never had an IP. Insomniac. They don't own any of the IPs of the games they've worked on, so they do now. I'd say Sony owns it, but that's their baby. They're not going to get anybody else to make Sunset, so they wouldn't buy it if there wasn't a Sunset Overdrive game coming. Whether they get the Xbox One or a sequel, we don't know. Again, with the deal there, I'd assume Microsoft owned the original, but that could have been in the deal. We just don't know what the deal was with Microsoft for them selling it. So it could be another huge exclusive. Because if you haven't played that game, it is good fun.
It looks like so much fun.
It's not too in depth or anything. It's a little bit different for them, yes, but it's fun. So hopefully we do get another one on the PlayStation systems in the future.
Sounds good. Just returning back to Miles Morales a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can't remember what the villain was called in that, but it was someone that I wasn't familiar with. So maybe maybe comic fans out there can tell us a little bit about who it was.
I doubt it's a made-up character just for
that. I'm assuming it's from the Miles Morales comics.
Miles Morales comics, yeah.
But I was getting I know it's the same studio, so I was getting some real Infamous vibes from it.
Yes, you said that.
It looked really cool.
And it did. The lighting and the explosions and how he is different to Peter. Yeah, it definitely looked like Infamous. Yeah. So, and technically it's a Infamous length, like they did with the little spin-off before version.
Oh, the first light one. Yeah.
And I don't like how they've done this. It seems the only way to get the remaster is to buy the collector's edition of Miles.
Yes.
Which is pricey. You're looking at $125, and you'll get a free. It's not free. You got to buy the other version. So I don't know how they can call it free. Good. We heard that was true. We knew there was a remaster. They were showing off the original Spider-Man on PlayStation 5 the loading times. So that's definitely, if you don't own a PlayStation 4, I'm pretty sure everybody owns a PlayStation 4. But if you don't, that'd be a great get.
It is a good get.
First up. So first, if you think, if you're an Xbox game and you weren't happy with what Xbox did and you're jumping to PlayStation, for the PlayStation 5, jump on Spider-Man Remaster, get the collector's edition for Miles, and you will love it. It's up there, top 5 this generation for me.
Oh, for sure.
It was, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So I think another thing that stood out about the trailer that they showed off though was I don't know about you, but it could be a positive, could be a negative, depends what your spin is on it. I couldn't always tell when it was like why can't I get the word? I'm old now. I'm calling it FMV.
Transition.
When it was a cinematic. That's there you go.
transition
When I'm old FMVs.
How long has it been since you played the original Spider-Man?
Oh, like from the 80s.
No, the PlayStation 4 version. How long since you played that one?
I got it at launch, so I guess it must be coming up to
So
2
your
years.
memory's a little hazy. Exactly the same. The transitions, there might have been a bit more cuts, so to speak, but most of them, he'll jump out his window, swing around in a cutscene, and then the next thing you're controlling him.
Yeah,
it's effortless. Some games have done that in the past. Not a lot. They tend to go full motion video, like your Resident Evils. They cut to full motion video, but they're not anymore. The Resident Evils, a lot of them are in-game cutscenes, real cinematic characters, and that's how Spider-Man's done.
Yeah,
and it looks amazing. You cannot tell when it's gameplay or cutscene.
Yeah. The only thing that sort of made me think when I saw that, though, is I did see that it appeared to be an increase in the amount of button prompts.
I'm gonna admit
I'm losing all my vocab today. Clearly,
yeah.
my gaming card's been taken away. I've misplaced it.
I turned that off in the original Spider-Man. One thing I'm going to hand Sony is the amount of options they've been adding to their games. Like being able to invert your controls would be nice. Nintendo. Just the amount of options in The Last of Us 2, accessibility. Even in Spider-Man, you could actually turn off the puzzles if you didn't want to do the puzzles. And I'm going to admit it, towards the end, I got bored. And I was like, I don't want to do the puzzles. So you can go skip. I just want to play the game. I want to swing. I want to fight people. I want to get the story done. And you could turn off the quick time events, the quick buttons. So you didn't have to do it. You can hold it instead. And Resident Evil 3 allowed you to do that. Instead of tap, 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 which damages the controllers. We know it does. You can just hold. Why not have the option? Some people don't want to sit there and button mash. So I'm hoping it's not filled with that. But I don't mind a little bit of it. I'm happy.
Yeah, a little bit's fine. It's not so bad. The next thing that they announced was Harry Potter or Hogwarts Legacy. Are you a Harry Potter fan?
Did you know they were making a Harry Potter game?
No, never. Like, no one spoke, no one leaked, no one revealed this about a year ago.
Not at
Came
all.
out of nowhere.
It's just out of nowhere. I'm so happy.
I can hear the sarcasm oozing off.
Yeah, there's a lot of sarcasm there. It was good. Disappointing was all the crappy articles about J.K. Rowling popping up instead of just talking about the game. Who cares? Move on. Let's talk about the game because it looked awesome. It looked really good. I mean, we didn't see a lot of gameplay, I guess, but I'm hoping it's not a games of service. But regardless, even if it is, it still looked really good. Now, I've only watched the first 2 Harry Potter films. I have them all there. I have bought the box set. Yes, I actually bought something. And I am going to very soon go through all of them. I just want to smash through all probably in a weekend and just go over them. So maybe even next weekend. We can't this weekend. Is it next weekend? I'm going to try getting them. What about you? Are you a huge Harry Potter fan?
I've seen most of the movies. I think I was just a little bit too old when the books were coming out.
Yeah.
So I think I sort of missed that main hype. But I enjoyed the movies. They're good fun. And this game, looks pretty good. Same fear as you. I was looking at it and going, this has a games as a service vibe to it, where you're going to be able to buy certain spells or level up quicker so you can perform certain tricks. Maybe not, but I was getting that sort of vibe. But it looked pretty, and I could see that this would be really fun for a lot of Harry Potter fans. That they would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I'm interested.
Worth a look.
I'm definitely interested to see more.
Yeah.
What was the next one? Call of Duty. Which at the start you were like, I'm going to go to sleep. And then towards the end you were like, yeah. They're very action-packed. The single player, I'm single player. I have been for about 5 years now. They're fun. It's 4 to 5 hours. And it's just a guilty pleasure. And that's all it comes down to. It's a bit of fun. And that looks like the same stuff to me. I will buy it eventually just for the single player. And I'll have fun with it. And then I'll probably move on. And you probably won't touch it at all.
Probably not. But I think it's just I have a bit of a fraught relationship with Call of Duty. I remember Modern Warfare 2 coming out, and everyone was going on about this. Like it was like God's gift to the world. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll go check it out. And I played it online, and every time I exited a building, instant sniped, absolutely that just destroyed.
It's not
All right, let's try something else. Okay, all right. And usually it would be followed by some 14-year-old in a microphone screaming at me, "You're gay, you're gay, you're gay," while sort of teabagging me. And I was like, okay, this is a fun game. I don't belong. I was tempted when they did the World War II one. I did pick that up one recently, as in like what I mean, not the older World War II ones, but the most recent one. I only briefly played it, but that was actually good fun. I did enjoy that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think World at War is my favorite series of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They actually had Kiefer Sutherland do voice acting for the old one back in the day, and I really enjoyed that. I'm a big Kiefer Sutherland fan, so I mean, who isn't? And just hearing his voice as you're playing.
Unless he takes over as Snake in Metal Gear, and then people were very upset.
Yeah, again, I'm not a Metal Gear fan, so that didn't bother me. I was like, oh, cool. And then I seen all the hate, and I was like, oh, maybe it's not cool.
Am I not cool?
I'm not cool.
I was cool.
Oh, man, just because I like Jack Bauer, Jesus.
I know. Well, Call of Duty, I don't know, man. I think if you've got it, I'll check it out. I think it's the honest answer.
It's. I'm not going to go spend $69 on it. I'll wait till it's a little bit cheaper. I'll play it, and then once I finish them, I tend to sell them just on Marketplace or something, because I'm not going to play it again. If I was playing online, I'd keep it definitely, but you got your free to play online now, so I'll probably just play that. Garfield, shush. He wants his prawns.
Aww. Right. Next one I know you were quite excited by, but also kind of distraught about, I think, at the same time.
Yeah, it is. I'm very bipolar on this one, aren't I?
It is. Yeah.
Bipolar is the best way to describe it.
I think you change emotion mid-sentence on it. It's quite...
Exactly. That's how bipolar it is.
Is Resident Evil not 8 The Village?
So, yeah, Resident Evil not 8 The Village in first person with one of the most boring characters I've ever played as a lead. And saying that, I went through and cleaned up a couple more achievements in Resident Evil 7 last week. So, again, they're not bad games. I just don't really feel them as Resident Evil games. Hopefully this one can change my mind with Chris being in it and being evil. Maybe. If they kill Chris off, I'm going to be very cranky. I'm not going to be happy. But, they haven't killed off any main characters in Resident Evil yet, so maybe it is time to kill one off.
Wasn't that the rumor that he's killed and then comes back and is a little bit possessed, isn't it, or something? Or
he's infected. Which honestly, that is pretty cool. And seeing him, we assume it was me as Hetty blew off in the trailer, so it's pretty shocking. In saying that, the trailer didn't show us any more gameplay. We have heard rumors of troubled development, PlayStation 4, Xbox One versions being canned, and they were coming out because they were holding the game back. So it's going to be interesting to see how it actually plays with gameplay, considering it's, we're assuming early 2021. I mean, all the games have been coming out early, so you would assume, but they haven't actually given it a date. It's just 2021. So
maybe with the Nemesis slot, maybe around March or April.
April. Yeah. But I am excited, and it is true next gen. It's not coming to current consoles, so you do need to buy a next gen console to play it. So it is keen, and it's definitely a game I will be buying.
Definitely, I'll be wanting to check that out as well.
And hopefully VR mode, as you've been saying.
Oh, I really hope so, man. Honestly, 7 by far. I mean, there's some competition, but by far is the best game to play.
It's up there, isn't it? It's right up there as one of the best VR. Good. And it was pretty early on. PlayStation tech-wise as well, and a shame I found out the other day it didn't come to the PC. It was meant to after Sony's exclusive deal and didn't come. So Capcom's been a bit funny with things like that lately. So
the next one, I don't know about you. I'm kind of meh on it. Is Deathloop.
I do like the Grindhouse vibes, but it does look a bit cheap. Like the animations look a bit cheap. The premise around it is cool, having to repeat and go through and change things, and so I guess if you fail, you learn from your mistake and you go back in time and you try again. But that could also get a bit tiresome. I know playing a lot of first-person shooters, you don't want to repeat the same thing you've been doing again. It's why games like GoldenEye, Perfect Dark were amazing when they set that trend for single-player adventures where you're not just shooting enemies running at you in a boring repeat way. So, but yeah, I'm not convinced. Delayed to Q2 2021, console exclusive, confirmed timed console exclusive, also coming to PC. So Xbox later, I assume PC around the same time as PlayStation. Again, it's another good get, I guess, from Arcane Studios, that they can make good games. So, have you played Dishonored?
I've played the first one. Yeah.
So, and I haven't finished it, and I didn't finish it because it wasn't a good game or anything. It's just, it happens. It goes to the backlog. But they're a good developer. They can make good games. So
yeah, I think it's really worth checking out. But
watching it, it's to
exciting.
be watched. So yeah, definitely watch it. Again, wouldn't surprise me. It pops up in Game Pass once the deal ends with like, that type of game that could pop up in Game Pass, being an AA title, not an AAA title. Later on down the track.
Okay. Next one, I'll be honest with you. Not a bad game. It's a great game, but it's a special edition. Is Devil May Cry 5? Right? Yeah, it's a fantastic game. Go play it. But nah.
Ray tracing, new character to play as, and a whole bunch of new modes. So it's not just a quick thing. They have put a lot of effort into it. The biggest talking point around this game is it's not coming to play PC. So all the PC people are peed off. And I don't blame them. I would be too. I mean, I'm sure they'd even pay for it to happen. Like, yeah. So I don't know if we're going to see this. Are we going to see games that have already been released get upgrades on Xbox and PlayStation only for ray tracing, and the PC version miss out? It could have to do with the sales of the PC version. And like you said, it's been out a while now. It's a hack and slash game. It's not really on. I need a PlayStation 5 to play Devil May Cry 5. Unless you're a Devil May Cry hardcore fan, yeah, it's not going to sell that system, and it's just a remaster. So, but again, it's not a cheap remaster. They haven't just slapped 60 frames, better frame rate, etc., and said here you go. They've added modes and characters. So
that's good. Yeah.
It's not.
If
cheap.
you've never played it, definitely give it a shot.
100%. But, yeah. If you missed out on it, then I'd be into those type of games. I'd be grabbing it. Yeah.
Next we had Oddworld Soulstorm.
Yep, another exclusive, which is good. Which has jumped the gun. That one. It used to be timed exclusive to Xbox, and now it's timed exclusive to Sony. So they're spending their money well.
Kind of gone full circle, really, hasn't it? It started off as a PS1 exclusive, then became a.
And then they tend to end up everywhere eventually, don't they? Again, it looks good. I probably won't be checking it out though. It's probably something I'll give a miss.
Yeah, when it's cheap.
Yeah, again, it'll probably end up in Game Pass one day, so I can have a little through it.
The one that I'm seeing a lot of people being very, very excited about is Demon Souls. Actually, got a pretty extensive gameplay.
Yeah, it was good.
Did you hear that keyword there, Nick?
Gameplay.
Gameplay. That thing where you see the game being played.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Or is it that where you hit play on the cinematic? Is that what it is?
No. We just hit play on our streaming now.
But yes, so obviously there was some Demon Soul gameplay, which
was good.
It looked good. Yeah. I think it looked a little bit set up to me because I don't know about you, but I'm terrible at these games.
Yeah, I'm not very good.
And that guy was just like hacking through them like they were butter. Like it was like no issue at all. So either the player was really good, or I think it was staged a little bit.
A little bit.
But it was beautiful. They did a really good job.
Great. It looks like it looked next gen, so to speak. It did look a lot prettier than what we've seen. There was a few clipping issues, which is normal, I guess, in those type of games. Things kind of sticking through things. One thing I did notice though is how small, like every room, so to speak. It was like, I'm not sure the original game was like that, but every room had like a sheath there. So I don't know if that was to hide loading or keep the frame rate steady. But did you notice that every time you went from one room to another, there was like this shield that lifted up to open into the next area?
I'd have to watch it again. Sorry,
I watched it a second time. I didn't notice it the first time. I didn't at all. I watched it the second time because it was the one that really did capture my attention. It and Spider-Man were the two if you're buying PlayStation 5 at launch, they're probably going
I
to.
was going to say, well, it's confirmed as a launch title. Well,
It is, which was weird. Somebody really stuffed up with the showcase because there was a few errors and things could have been a little bit.
Why wasn't that plastered all over it? Like day one, launch, grab this thing, get excited.
Even Spider-Man said holiday 2020. Like, it's like they haven't had time to update. I can do it in Adobe, so why can't Sony? Like, anyway, it's not a big deal. We got the information after anyway, but it was just strange that they didn't say launch game. You know, stick this, Microsoft. You have nothing. We have two big guns. I would have.
Why wouldn't you fire that shot? It seems like an obvious shot. I would have
even like in the corner somewhere had you Phil. Sorry, shouldn't swear. F you Phil. I'll bleep that out as well. We've got 2 bleeps now. You got none.
I'm keeping it under control. I'm good.
You are. Just something there. Just a little something there to our launch titles with gameplay. Ha 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 ha. Microsoft might show off some gameplay in November or something.
That's not. Yeah, no. They showed off some Gears 6
Gears
gameplay.
5.
Some Ori gameplay.
Hang on, they're Xbox One games.
Yeah.
No, we got Halo. Oh, hang on, that's Xbox One game.
Maybe Phil didn't get the message, man. New console, new games. I don't know. Maybe he misunderstood. Yeah.
They're coming 2025, maybe.
They're coming. There'll be another showcase. They'll show something. Yeah.
They did say in their little leaked thing that they've got more to show. So we're thinking maybe Games Awards, but they do their little XO thing as well. Remember?
Yep.
So they might show us something there. I can't remember when that is, but it's usually October-ish.
Yeah. No, there's more coming. That's fine. The game of the show for me, by far, was a new BioShock. Five Nights at Freddy's.
I thought it was BioShock. I was like, this looks like BioShock. It has the fire. I'm not going to diss it because they are cool, but I was disappointed because it was my own fault.
I know. I got myself excited. We were like, it could be new BioShock. Come on, it's been rumored for ages. Come on. Well, because it was 5 nights. You're like, all right.
It's not even rumored. They actually come out and said in one of their financial things, we are working on a new BioShock. Like they just said, we are working on a new. They didn't say anything else, but they said we are working on a new BioShock. So it's technically confirmed. So
maybe it's that new BioShock that's finally going to come out.
Yeah.
Next one, Fortnite, whatever.
Next. Yeah, move on. Don't care.
PlayStation Plus collection was revealed. So this is interesting because I'm not 100% sure what it is, but could be intriguing. So the basics of what I could get from it is that they are kind of folding this new service into PlayStation Plus. So if you've already got PlayStation Plus, you'll have access to how was it? Was it 24 games or something like that? I can't remember it. So all PS4 games, all things like Uncharted, Last of Us, God of War. There was a few EA games in there. There was like Battlefield, wasn't there, and different bits and pieces. So not too bad. If it's like no extra cost, it's going to be in the
extra cost, full download to your console as long as you have. They didn't really expand on these things, which they should. People are trying to compare it to Game Pass. Please don't. It's really good. It's really good for people that probably didn't have a PS4. Like I don't see, but there might be a couple of games there. Say Days Gone. Or Bloodborne. I mean, this would be good for me because there is a few games in there that I don't own physically, but I have gone around lately and collected a few of the early PS4 games I haven't finished and added to the collection. They're $10, second hand. Sorry, they're $10 again. They're $20 brand new. It's great for people that haven't played a PlayStation 4. So it's really good if you're getting into the PlayStation ecosystem. Straight away, you boot up online, and that you can download all these games from the PlayStation 4 and just play them. You just download them and they're yours. So, I mean, obviously, as long as you have a PlayStation Plus subscription. They didn't say whether the game's going to be changing or they're going to stay there forever and come away and come back. Or I mean, we know they'll add more to it, but they didn't say whether these games will disappear. You would assume so. You would assume that it'll probably be a rotating thing.
Yeah,
some will come in and some will come out.
It's first step Game Pass, isn't it?
It is. Honestly, I think it is. I think it's their first real step at it. It's the first stepping stone to doing it.
Yeah.
And it's a really good idea. It's not PlayStation 5 games. It's BC, but it's free BC, and that's not something Sony's really done in the past.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a good step in the right direction, and honestly, it's probably forced by Microsoft. They're forcing their hand.
Slight tangent there. Did you see they confirmed as well that it will not support PS1, PS2, PS3? Like that's been officially
finally, and I'm sure they're going to work on PS Now to do that. That would be the thing that would make most sense. I mean, Microsoft's dedicated to having download only, so that does limit how many games they can do with their backwards compatibility. They have to be patched and work well, and they're not just doing them as they were, they're enhancing them. So they're going above and beyond. Sony might not do that. They might just have PS Now, the original versions, stream. People will be happy with that. People will. I mean, I can't see the PlayStation 1 game. We should be able to stream it here in Australia pretty easily. I mean, you don't need super duper internet to do that. So hopefully we get PS Now here with all the BCs on PC and PlayStation 5. Just let everybody play, because they did say that they're going to release a lot more games on PC too.
They have. It's clearly been successful for them. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Get Garfy in here. He clearly wants to chat as well.
You want to chat? Sorry, buddy.
Oh.
Say hello.
Hey, Garfy.
Can you say hello?
You're feeling quite chatty today, aren't you?
You just want your prawns, don't you? You just want your prawns. Soon. He's got to have his thyroid tablets every 12 hours, but he had it a little bit later this morning, so he has to wait a little bit.
Oh, poor guy.
But he's normally around 7, but he got a little bit later this morning because I had to scoot off a bit later today.
All right, and our final announcement was the big one.
The big one, yeah.
The big one.
Interesting. Very interesting. Didn't expect it, to be honest.
God of War Ragnarok.
Well, expected it. We knew it was coming. The director is on Twitter a lot, and he probably talks more and gives more information away than he should. But I like it. He's very transparent. Unlike Sony at the moment, he is very transparent in what he wants, what he's doing with his games, and what he wants Sony to do as well. 2021 is the talking point. A lot of people do believe it's a PS4 game as well, if it's 2021.
Well, I've said Horizon's going to be PS4 as well, and that's likely to be sort of later in 21.
And that's
yeah, they're not going to abandon that player base. There's too many people there. There's 100 million consoles out there. Like they're not going to abandon it.
And I said to you, it does not make sense. Business sense, it doesn't.
No.
It's what's been done in the past, yes, but Microsoft came out and said we're not doing this for other reasons. And I'm happy that they've made this decision. I am.
Yeah, me too.
It's a good thing because how much money have you? Look at all those games behind you and that. Like, how much money have you invested in your PlayStation 4? Do you? I know you do really want to jump to PlayStation 5 and have a new console, but do you really want to have none of those things and all that money and time you've invested in that console mean nothing to you at the moment? Like just instantly, like gone. It's done.
Well, they have now said they reckon 99% of PS4 games are going to work on PS5.
Yeah. They didn't expand on that at launch. Gradually, now, like they just didn't expand. But that's good news. It's good news. Really good news. Which means once you do get a PS5, you can sell your PS4. You don't need to have a second console there. So,
are you excited for God of War Ragnarok though?
Yeah, I'm conflicted on God of War. I've said this a few times. I really enjoyed it when I was playing it, and then I finished it. And in hindsight, it was one of those games where it needed more. So I'm hoping, yes, the sequel gives me bigger boss battles, like the originals. Maybe it was a little bit too story driven. But my only downside really with it was the lack of weapons, and the boss fights were very identical. You're fighting gods that had very similar powers, and it was very repeaty. Whereas the originals, you're running up the arm or something, and you're the size of their knuckle. Like it was epic in scale like that, and I'd love to see that on the PlayStation 5. Something is, you're the size of their finger, and you're fighting them like that. That's what God of War was about. I don't know if they'll go back to that route. They might keep it a little bit more realistic. But yes, the short answer is yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to see what they've put together. It feels like a quick turnaround with the game completing in 2018, and they're saying 3 years later. Now, if it is a direct sequel, then maybe
has
they've
to
already
be.
got a lot of the assets, right? So like maybe it doesn't need to take as long as the first time. I get that.
RE2, RE3, yeah.
Yeah, I get all that.
Spoiling it for people, there was worlds in the original game that you couldn't get to.
Mm.
But they were there, they're listed, but you couldn't travel to them.
There you go.
So I assume that you're going to boot up and the game will take off and you'll have some of the previous world you're in available, and then you'll go to new areas as well. And it just ends, and it's going to pick up exactly where it ends. It ends on a cliffhanger. So, yeah, it probably is going to be on PS4 as well. If it is a 2021 game, I can't see it being a PlayStation 5 exclusive in 2021. There's not enough time.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I hope it's on both, and then from then on, any other game they release, make it PlayStation 5 exclusive and give us our next gen goodness. But hopefully, again, great showcase. God of War coming next year, maybe, possibly. Horizon Zero Dawn coming next year. Spider-Man this year. That's 4 big hitters. And without being negative, we don't really know what Microsoft has coming in the next 12 months. We really don't. We know there's games, but we don't know if they're coming 2021 because they have no dates at all. They have no dates listed to them.
So that'll be the next step. Like they'll obviously have to announce their launch titles as well. So that's coming. Yeah.
Which I don't think we're going to see much. I don't.
So overall, just to finish off, what sort of ranking would you give this conference? What rating would you give it?
I'll go 7.
Wow, harsh. Why 7?
Because we've seen most of it in the last one. So I'm ranking it on Spider-Man. We already seen it. We knew it. So I'm ranking it on Final Fantasy, God of War, Demon Souls, because we've seen gameplay. So I'm ranking it on the new stuff.
I'm going to be more generous than you. I'm going to say a 9. I think it was really, really solid. They showed gameplay for a bunch of games. They've revealed the launch. We know there are heavy hitters at launch. I think it got people excited. And like you said, there were big announcements that we were unsure of or that are a big deal, like Final Fantasy, like God of War 2. I think it was a solid show. And this is just personal. The only thing that kept me from giving it higher than that is basically what wasn't there. And it's not fair because Sony can't deliver what I want. But they didn't have Silent Hill was a big one that we really, really hoped would be there. And maybe it's not real, or maybe it's coming later.
It's not real. I'm just going with it's not real. It doesn't exist. That's what I'm going with now. If it existed, we'd have something by now. In this world of the internet, it's just been too many rumors for kind of like Metroid Prime Trilogy for Switch. It's coming, it's made, it's ready. And then nothing, not a hint, nothing. So,
but I finally got it.
You've got it, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be on Switch.
I finally got it. Oh my god,
it's so good. It's so good.
Oh, I'll be playing that for sure. Like I've been wanting to play that for ages. So very, very happy. So yeah, and also I think I'd lower it. And this is not necessarily the conference's fault, and we can talk about this later. But I feel like they didn't manage those pre-orders very well, and I feel like that's something that they should have touched on.
Comes into it too, a bit of the not announcing what games weren't coming.
Yeah,
the whole Spider-Man and Horizon only possible on PlayStation 5, but then they're on PS4. So there's a few things there that made we should be talking about the showcase, and unfortunately, most people are talking about everything that's happened after the showcase, which is disappointing because they showed good games.
They did.
There's 2 good games coming at launch for the PlayStation 5. Again, I don't believe it's a strong launch lineup. You have to run out and buy a PlayStation 5 because technically the only real exclusive is Astro Bot and Demon Souls. So if you're into Demon Souls, I get it. And no one's really Astro Bot's built into the console too, which is cool. I like that. It's old school Sega type thing.
I know.
I love it. Everybody should build a game into their console, and that way when you buy a piece of hardware, you've got one bit of software with it at all times. Everybody should do that from get-go. So Xbox, Nintendo, listen. But maybe I'm a bit harsh. I'll give it an 8.
There you go. That sounds better.
Yeah, it's a bit better. It was pretty good. It's exactly what you want to see.
All right, then, guys. What do you think? Did you enjoy the Sony conference? Was it exactly what you wanted, or was it a little bit disappointing? Are you hyped for PS5? Did you actually get a pre-order for PS5? Because I don't know if anyone who actually intends to keep their PS5 got one.
No, I seen somebody got six.
Yeah, that's
Going on
disappointing.
eBay.
Yeah. Let
Yeah.
us know in the comments below.
See you guys, and yeah, this is to the scalpers. I'll
Bye.
blur that out. See you guys.